Hello, and welcome to our Energy Connect studio at Gastech 2023. I'm really glad to have Paul Everingham joining me again. He's CEO of Asia National Gas and Energy Association. Really good to have you down in the studio once again, Paul.
Thanks very much, Julian. Excited to be here with you at Gastech and part of Energy Connects.
Just to start off, could you just tell our audience a bit more about the association, what you set out to do, and what you're doing in the energy space?
Absolutely. Angia is based in Singapore. We represent companies from across the energy supply chain, particularly in Asia, and we advocate, we publish policy and analysis and advice and work with governments and industry across Asia around their energy transition. So basically ensuring that countries in Asia can have affordable, reliable and sustainable sources of energy.
That's interesting, Paul. And Gia, how has it grown and evolved over the past year?
It was started about 2 years ago. The concept was sort of a germination amongst a small group of companies. And now it's grown to 12 companies, all global players. We're looking at growing quite quickly. We're talking to other members, but representative of across the sort of different geographies of Asia and the Asia Pacific.
Oh, very interesting. And are there any key learnings yourself or the association has come across in the last 12 months?
Absolutely, about the essential nature of energy security. I think the precarious energy scarcity situation in the North Atlantic and particularly Europe in the last 12 to 18 months has highlighted it across Asia, especially countries that don't have a strong domestic mix of their own energy sources, how important energy security is, having a diverse supply of different sources from different geographies. So our sort of key takeaway from the last 12 months is energy security and supply is critical in Asian economies.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you see for the next year for Angia?
We think in line with the energy transition, and we have COP coming up in the UAE later this year, which I know you'll be attending, and I'll certainly be paying close attention to. We like to advocate and bring energy solutions to Asia that are responsible, reliable, affordable. With that in mind, we'll be doing a lot of work around carbon capture and storage in 2024 and 2025. And we're going to look at the Asia Pacific region, what its potential is to be a hub for carbon capture and storage, what regulatory, legal, legislative, financial and governance frameworks would be needed in Asia to set up an Asia Pacific carbon hub. That'll be a key pillar of our work over the next 12 to 18 months.
Wow, well that could be a lot of work. And recently you published a CCS white paper.
We did, yeah.
Tell me more about it and maybe some of the outcomes that came out of the report.
The white paper was really for two purposes. One was for people to use it as a powerful piece of research in their day-to-day work in the energy sector. The other was to just highlight for people how prevalent it already is. The technology is very proven. Carbon capture and storage has been going on for more than 30 years within the oil and gas sector. It is transferable. The technology can be used elsewhere in other industries, and that's what our work in 2024 will show. So it's an exciting time for us, and it's an exciting time to be involved in energy in Asia. Asia is where GDP growth will come for the next 30 years, which means energy growth will also come alongside that.
Absolutely. And Paul, what sort of trends in Asia's energy sector do you expect to see in the next couple of years? I mean, you've talked obviously about CCS, but interested in other sort of elements in maybe the energy transition.
Absolutely. So some trends we're seeing that we're getting a lot of inquiries about from different countries about their desire and demand for natural gas. We're getting inquiries from countries about their desire and demand from ammonia. We're getting a lot of inquiries around carbon capture and storage. These are some of the trends. We think in Asia, because you've still got a lot of high coal using countries, those trends will continue more and more. In Vietnam, you're seeing a really big strategic whole of country, both industry and society, shift to gas. Seeing Indonesia start talking about the shift to gas. They're historically a big coal country. The Philippines are talking about a strategic shift to gas. And that's all very exciting, but the supply's got to come from somewhere. And the capture and abatement and offsets also got to take place alongside it so that it's responsible and sustainable.
Absolutely. And, outside the trends, what are when you see some of the major challenges facing the energy market in Asia?
I think the biggest challenge is affordability in Asia. So we're in Singapore today. It's one of the wealthiest nations on earth. It's a Asian success story, the tiger economy of Asia. And in North Asia, you have China, Japan, and Korea, very similar, strong, growing economies. But in other parts of South and Southeast Asia, you have what are known as the emerging economies. And they have a lower per capita GDP rate per person or per capita than, say, Singapore or Japan or Korea. And what that means is that their people can't afford the higher costs that our societies in Singapore, Japan, Korea will pay for electricity. And so we have to get to a place where we can, as a energy industry, supply affordable, reliable and clean energy to these emerging countries so that they can realise their economic aspirations and ambitions for their people and bring their people out of lower cost living into the middle class, which is pretty much everyone's aspiration, all the while keeping an eye on emissions and sustainability.
Very interesting, Paul. And just before we go, we're here at Gastech, as we said before, in Singapore, the heart of Asia. What's the importance of an event like this to be here in Singapore?
Oh, it's fantastic for Singapore. Singapore is a historic trading hub. For 600 years, people have come through the Singapore and then Malacca Straits. It's a very mercantile nation and successful as well. Gastech brings together a lot of different countries, a lot of different aspects of the energy industry, and gives me and our organisation and our companies the opportunity to engage with different companies from different parts of the sector, but also different geographies. It's a powerful annual event that we always attend, and our members and companies find it extremely useful, and it's been a great week.
Great, Paul. Well, that's good to hear, and I appreciate you coming down to the Energy Connect studio.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching, and I look forward to bringing you more studio interviews from the show floor in the coming days.